I invite the Honorable Amor Mottley, the Prime Minister.
But that I've come here to be able to ensure that all who shall come hereinafter shall know first and foremost of the honor with which a Barbadian son of the soil served in the form of Sir Leroy Trotman. And then they will become curious and understand that he did so on the shoulders of other titans, and that he too, I hope, will pass on that legacy to those who are now before us and now coming up, such that they too will bring gender balance to that which is reflected in this building at a time in the future. But I say this with all humility. It is not often that a country can produce persons who serve at this level over and over and over. And I don't do it as an idle boast, but I reflect it more as a statement of our conviction and how we have been raised as a people to believe that these battles matter, and these battles must be fought even if the odds are against us when we start to fight them. I could not have imagined how difficult it would have been for Sir Roy to lead a labor movement when I started my political career in the early 1990s, when Barbados was confronted with a situation where the stability of its dollar again and the stability of its fiscal circumstances came under pressure, and where significant adjustments had to be made, but were made with maturity, without loss of life, and without injury to a single person. That has been the measure of the leadership of the trade union movement in our country. And I am happy, therefore, Sir Roy, to say to you that, as the ambassador pointed out, we are not doing this where you are looking down upon us, but we are doing this where you are looking at us, and most importantly, you have the final right of reply. Against that background, that it is being done at this stage, it coincides with the best precepts of cricket, that this organization is 100 not out, and that you, Sir Roy, continue to bat not out even after you have formally left the stage. There are those who are here who may be forgiven for believing that Sir Roy is not active. I want to assure you that I carry the scars of his action very well, and his activity, and that he continues to provide guidance and leadership to the workers of Barbados in conjunction with the current General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union. And I must say that from a political perspective, if you start in the right place, then you cannot fear the advice or the guidance of persons like Sir Roy. And I start from the perspective that I lead a Labour Party. And if I accept that, therefore, then even if we do not always agree on every issue, we stand from the same philosophical perspective, which is to see the improvement in the lives of our workers. I'd like to thank you, Director General, for doing Sir Roy, but by extension, my country, our country, the honor of ensuring that those who come hereinafter will ask the question, who was that man and what did he do such to be recognized? And that in asking the question, they shall receive answers that shall provide inspiration for them to redouble their efforts in the name of the workers of the world. Thank you so much, and Sir Roy, we commend and congratulate you for bringing honor to your country, and to your people, and to your region. Thank you.
I invite the Director General of the International Labour Organization, Mr. Ryder, to give you some remarks.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Madam Prime Minister, Ministers, representatives of the government, the workers and employers of Barbados and of the region and many other countries gathered here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. This afternoon, I think everybody who was in attendance at the International Labour Conference will agree that they were given a demonstration of the power of oratory, the power of principle, the power of mobilisation when we listened to the speech of Prime Minister Mottley. It was an enormous encouragement to our organisation, Prime Minister. Some people might have been surprised, but anybody who knows the Prime Minister or has heard the Prime Minister previously, and I've had that privilege, will not have been surprised. And frankly, most people who have been around this organisation have seen and heard the contribution of eminent Barbadians over the years, will not have been surprised either. And that is my case. I arrived in this organisation as a very junior trade union official in the 1980s when Frank Walcott was in the height of his powers. And his contribution to this organisation, I think, stands in the history of our organisation. And when he left, I think many of us thought we would not see anything like that again, or nothing at that level again. Or maybe not from Barbados, but we did, because he was followed by Leroy Trotman, today Sir Roy Trotman. And I said in my recent visit to Barbados, as a joke, no, not as a joke, that I received my education from Sir Frank Walcott, and subsequently I received my instructions from Leroy Trotman, because I served as Leroy's secretary for some of the years at least that he was the leader of the workers group in the ILO Governing Body. I also worked with Leroy when he was the president of the International Confederation of Free Trade Unions, which he equally led with distinction. I was present at the moment that Leroy, I don't know if you remember this, Leroy in Vienna, Austria in 2006, brought down the gavel on the creation of the Unified International Trade Union Confederation, another moment of history. So these are all episodes, memories, reasons for us all to pay homage to Sir Roy's contribution to this organisation. And I know that the contribution back home in Barbados has been the equal, if not greater than that, but I am not properly qualified, in this company at least, to comment on his national contribution, save to say, in echo of what the Prime Minister said before the conference this afternoon, that the Barbados Workers' Union has been, has it not, a mainstay in nation building in Barbados, and I think that says enough in itself. These are great traditions. These are things which I believe all Barbadians should be proud of. We're all proud of Sir Roy's contribution to Barbados' contribution to this organisation. And as we look back, as we tend to do at a moment of centenary, past history, we can celebrate that. But Prime Minister, we've decided to make this centenary also a moment to look to the future. And just as the historic figures are here today, so is the future of Barbados and the future of the ILO. And I want to acknowledge in the persona of Senator Moore and Minister Jordan and the employer colleagues that we know these traditions that have been handed to us. We know the high standards that have been handed down to us, which we must equal. And I think they all add to our determination to do exactly what the Prime Minister told us to do this afternoon. Stick to principle, keep up the struggle, never give up. We are, I like the quote, we're not expected to finish the job, but we're not entitled to abandon the job. I guess I'm paraphrasing you, Prime Minister, but the sentiment is that. And yes, it will be an enormous inspiration to those who are here today to those who have lived in this house in the past and worked there, but also for those who come in the future, exactly as the Prime Minister has said, to come to this building, to see the bust that's going to be unveiled, and to ask the question, who was he? What did he do? And it's like asking the question, what is this organisation? Where did it come from? Why is it here? And we'll be able to give some answers. Some answers from our past history, but more than that, the answers that we give in the future by what we do, drawing on the inspiration of Sir Roy and so many others. So thank you for listening to me. I have to run away very quickly, Sir Roy, because I've got things waiting for me, but I'm anxious to listen to you first. Thank you, Ambassador.
I will invite Senator Tony Moore to introduce the guest of honor. Senator Moore is the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, and all of you here know her based on her participation actively in the ILO as well. So.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'm going to be very brief this evening because I recognize that Director General really needs to hear the man of the moment and not the man of the hour. So a lot has been said about Sir Roy, a lot has been observed about his contributions over the years, and your very presence here this evening is a signal of the esteem and the high regard with which you continue to hold him. Sir Roy is no stranger to the walls of the ILO. As you've heard, he's served on the governing body for 20 years, from 1991 to 2011, and for 9 of those years, he served in the position of Workers Vice-chair. For us in Barbados, that is a signal, as you heard from the Prime Minister, that it doesn't matter where you come from or the size of the country you come from. Sir Roy has a standing joke in this house, or a statement, not a joke, to be taken very seriously, that we are from the continent of Barbados. And I'm proud this evening that one from the continent of Barbados shattered a glass ceiling of sorts by becoming the first black man. And I say so very proudly because in this house we like to use very proper words like racialized or person of color. But Sir Roy was the first black man to hold the position of Workers Vice-chair, having been the first black man to be president of the ICFTU, as you've heard from our director. Hopefully, from his legacy, I'll pick up a number of firsts as well. As you heard, I'm the first female General Secretary of the BWU. And Sir Roy, you have my commitment that your legacy will be honored through my contribution, because I plan to follow in your footsteps and observe a number of other firsts as well. So at this point in time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce my former General Secretary, one who served the Barbados Workers Union as General Secretary for 25 years before he passed on to me in 2014, one who served in this organization, as I said, for 20 years, one who's led the workers group for 9 of those years, and it's my privilege and absolute pride to introduce the man of the moment. Should I say Cardinal? Should I say Sir? What do I call you? Sir Cardinal Leroy Trotman to address you.
That was 50, right? Mr. Chairperson, Honorable Prime Minister, Director General, all the others of you who are directors and leaders in your own particular way, I have been given a very limited amount of time to speak to you regarding a heart, in terms of years, a heart full of experiences. And I don't know how to do that. I can tell you that the first thing I would want to ask your indulgence to allow me to do is to invite my daughter to come and stand beside me, because I want you to see the young lady who made what I thought was the most sterling speech I heard throughout the conference until that moment. And she made it clear to me, I don't want you to say anything or get anything to do with my speech. It is my speech and not yours. So if it was a good speech and an excellent speech, then I want you to see Leslie Michelle Trotman Edwards and to have her join me for a minute or two. I dropped my pen. Oh, that's all right. It was only my pen I dropped and nothing else at this stage. I want you to know that Leslie is an attorney at law and that we brought her along to prevent me from going to jail. She has a sister and she's a doctor to keep me healthy. And that is all I can ask in the next few years or so. I've tried in my history to do the best I could, having been brought up, to understand in the true Christian philosophy, and I am Christian, that in whatever we should do, or whatever we can do, we should learn to give and not to count the cost, to labor and to ask for no reward, save that of knowing that we do the will of God. And I would expand that to say that where you belong to an organization like a labor movement, then you don't count the costs, because how do you count the costs that you incur in helping poor working class people to bring about social justice and an improvement in our community? And how do you manage to look for reward when you serve working class people? You do it not because there is the hope of economic gain, but you do it because you believe that you're making a contribution to a cause, the cause of humankind, not only in your country, but in all places where there are similar people everywhere. And I would want you, distinguished colleagues of mine, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize that that contribution which I sought to make was not made only for the Caribbean, although I hope the Caribbean respects it and appreciates it. But there are so many other territories of the world and islands around the world, including the continent of Barbados, where people believe that my assistance helped to contribute to the wealth of social justice, the wealth of the struggle for equality and for improvement the world over. And whether that was taking place in Belarus, or was taking place in Colombia, or was taking place in Guinea, wherever it was taking place, I take the pleasure of believing that the workers in the ILO and that governments in many parts within the ILO felt that the contribution which the workers group was giving to this tremendous organization was a contribution that was making the quality of life around the entire world, the quality of life that we could continue to look forward to. We've seen that happening through the various directors generals that we have had, and I'm pleased to see that one of the people to whom I issued words of advice from time to time, guides. Some people call it instructions, but words of advice, including how the future would work itself out, that those people have been able to take the ball and to run with it. I thank you for giving me that tremendous experience, that really great opportunity to serve. And I could not reflect on those years that I've had in coming to Geneva from 1972. I did not serve on the governing body then, but I served on some of those, what we call now, those, what we call the Gulfs, those international agencies where we served in Paul and in the other agencies. And from that time, I've had a number of brothers and sisters that I have been able to bring into my own life and to the history of my family. And some of them are here this afternoon. I have only 1 minute left, so I can't really call them by name. But a whole host of them is around the room, and I want them to know that this occasion is only so great as you have helped me to make it great. Thank you so very much for helping me to make the ILO a little better than it was. And I go, perhaps my last visit here, but I go knowing that Barbados has made its mark. Barbados has made its mark through so many great leaders, and Barbados will continue to make its mark because we have given to you those people that we believe have a contribution that you will accept when they make it on behalf of the brotherhood of man, the brotherhood of personhood. I don't know how we use those terms these days, but as we try to make the world a better place. Thank you so very much. I do not know what is in the next room. I've heard rumors. The Prime Minister has kept it a very private thing, and Guy has sworn to me that he knows only a little bit more than I do. So whatever is there, I accept it, Prime Minister, knowing that it is not a beautification exercise that we are trying to give to the ILO, but that it's a gift of a spirit that we are trying to bring into the building to ensure that the continent of Barbados is able to impress on succeeding generations the will for us to believe, not in our size, but in the size of our hearts, the magnitude of our belief in ourselves, and our hope that all of us will get the vision where we don't have it, and where we do have the vision, that we will keep the vision to make the world a better place. Thank you so much.